Hey, let me bring in our panel. We have Don Schweitzer. He's a former homicide detective. We've got Courtney Anderson. He's a criminal defense attorney and workplace violence expert. We have Larry Posner. He's a criminal defense attorney. And still with me is Candace DeLong. She's a former FBI profiler. Don, let me begin with you. Former cop, former SWAT officer. Also, you're a lawyer. So like me, you go through a lot of courthouses in America. What do you think? I mean, the security is dismal, isn't it?
It's horrible. My experience is that if you take any street cop out in America and you put them in a courthouse and you see, and you have that police officer look at what these bailiffs are doing to protect the public,
right,
they'd all be appalled. Police officer, the bailiffs, basically part of the courtroom staff now. In other words, they're running the calendar.
Right.
They're checking in with the clerk. They're doing everything except for protecting the public.
They're basically
That's
civilians.
right.
And how many times on the street? Let's say you got a guy who's 6'1", got a lot of felonies on his record, a tough guy like this guy is. Would you ever put a 5'6", 5'7" female officer on this guy, or a 5'6", 5'7" male officer on this type of guy?
You would never. Any street-savvy police officer would have 2 or 3, 4 people on a guy like this, particularly when they find weapons on him the day before like this.
So why do they do this in these courthouses? Why do you have a convict that comes in and you basically you give him free rein?
I think part of it is the personnel that's in the courtrooms. They're not the people that want to be out in the street. I think there should be more rotation from people that are from the courtroom to go out into the street and bring those street cops into the courtroom. That's one thing. The other thing is, let's get some awareness of what courtrooms are really about. You got people that are angry. You got people that are really in the worst parts of their lives, and some are off the deep edge, and they'll do something like this here. So,
Courtney Anderson, what's your take on what's happened today?
Well, it's absolutely devastating. I mean, obviously, as defense attorney, I immediately was shocked, and I thought back to times I've been in the courtroom, and I've had very difficult clients, or clients who actually threatened me with physical violence. So, I mean, all of us who are attorneys who practice, you take your breath back, and my goodness, you know, that could be any of us.
Do you have any problem as a criminal defense attorney having your clients come into the court, especially a guy like this who had 2 homemade knives found on him the day before, come in front of a jury with handcuffs on?
Well, once again, that goes back to we don't want to have the jury have a negative impression of our clients. And I know it sounds maybe somewhat silly to the viewer at home, but obviously when you get into the court, we want that defendant to have the best opportunity to prove that the charges are not true.
All right, Mr. Posner, let me bring you in here. What's your take on it? Do you think it's unfair to bring somebody in with handcuffs, especially if you caught them smuggling knives 2 days before? I mean, doesn't that, it seems like a safe precaution, right?
Well, you certainly can be frisking these people. I don't know why that didn't get more attention. We have this problem right now in Denver, Joe. We have a courthouse in the city and county of Denver where we bring our prisoners down the hallway in the middle of the public. It's dangerous to the public, it's demeaning to the citizen accused, and it's unnecessary. We have to protect the legal system. We have to protect the judges, the families, the personnel, but the taxpayers don't want to do it. They just don't see a need. They think of it as coddling when really what we're talking about is public safety and respect for the system of law.
Candace DeLong?
I don't understand why a defendant couldn't be brought in handcuffs. This guy should have been handcuffed behind his back and sit him at the defendant's table, then take the handcuffs off, then bring in the jury. Nobody yet has said anything to make me see why that shouldn't have been done and shouldn't be done in the future. I
agree with you 100%. Now, more with my guest in just a minute as this Scarborough Country Special Report, Manhunt in Middle America, continues. You know, right now, Don Schweitzer, there's a movement from a member of Congress from Illinois to arm judges. Good or bad idea?
It's not necessarily a good idea. When judges get shot, they're usually in the midst of work, okay? They're not trained to be able to stand up and take fire. What we need is better security by the people that are there to do that. You know, if you want to give a gun to a judge that makes him feel better, that's fine, but really that's not going to make him any safer. In this case, it wouldn't have made a difference because that guy who barged into the courtroom had a beat on that judge before he even knew it was going to happen. And that would happen 99.9% of the time.
Right, and you're a former SWAT officer. Right. And this guy had hostages. Right. He had cuffed people in the courtroom. What's an old judge going to do? I mean,